Special thanks to our sponsor, the Herzog Foundation. There is no way you can comprehend ahead of time what you're getting into.
As you talk about grief, I'm angry. I'm angry that this has happened.
Yeah, wow. I loved being here with you. You're easy to talk to.
It's such a fantastic question, and I'm piecing together the different parts of it. So I hope that I can do the question justice in the way that I answer it.
Oh, it's such a great question.
I think it's fair to say to the parent, your son doesn't seem like himself lately. Is everything okay?
It's hard to know what it would be like to be a parent until you see it or until you really are one, right? But seeing it helps. Seeing someone like you, which is probably one of your friends or even like your sister, if they start to have children, you are much more likely to have children as well.
This is a great question. That's a great thing to bring up because they are.
Leah, it's a great question.
That's a great question. We don't know.
Completely agree. No, those are wise words.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And I wholeheartedly endorse your idea.
So that's such a good question because...
No, I think you're raising such an important point.
That's pretty cool.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, Leah, because it's about progress and not perfection, right?
You're getting meaty here. This is juicy.
Leah, it's actually a very complicated question.
It's really affecting the young people by just ignoring that these things need to be talked about.
I didn't think it was abuse. I thought it was tough coaching and that I was too weak to endure it, which is really sinister and abusive in and of itself.
Some of my background, I worked with the first housing development in the District of Columbia for grandparents raising grandchildren. A whole building of kids and, caregivers. And most often they did not know they were a grand family. That is what their family structure was. A lot of times the caregivers are like, we're just doing this, right? We're stepping in, we're taking care of these children to be there for them.
Jamal, this topic, at first sounds kind of warm and fuzzy, mm-hmm. and yet there are really a lot of sad streaks through this picture, aren't there?
I like what you just said about the President's Circle.
No, so you're this. I haven't. This is a new one. Thank you. I'll say I have not thought of this.
I heard you say. I believe I heard this right. It was intriguing. I've never heard anyone say this. Our body is an environment.
This is a fun exercise, by the way. I've never done this.
I was shocked at the results when they started to come in.
Everything you said applies throughout most of human history to what warfare was really like. This is powerful. I never really connected those dots.
As your beautiful story attests, I think it's the most fascinating thing in the world.
What are your values as a country? What are our values? Is that what we care about more than anything? Are we willing to abuse children to win medals?
I think that's the kind of work that could happen starting now at sort of kitchen tables and dining room tables across the country. Doesn't require legislation, doesn't require bills, and thank God because Congress can't do anything anyway. So let parents sort of destigmatize it for themselves and augur these conversations, and let that be sort of the first building block for a generation of people who can gamble more safely.
I think that what you're saying, what you're getting at with that question is going to be an important enforcer in what makes this real for us to be worried about.
And I completely missed that one. That's a very, very useful and valuable insight. And I think it's got a lot of validity.
And this is an important question into your example earlier.
We were made to give love. We weren't just made to receive love. Between the two of us, we have a lot to say.
It's a great point, and
in fact, the truth may be the opposite.
Oh my God. I see I'm in trouble with this interview. You know too much.
My pet idea.
Okay, I'm all ears.
I love showing people my mugshots, and it's not to glorify what I did or anything, but
I'm going to two confessions here. I don't know if I've ever really admitted this on a podcast before, Leah.
I don't know. We're sort of spitballing ideas.
When it comes to maturity, I was thinking about this before I came on here. And I mean, in terms of maturity, I think that I hate saying this, the most mature students that I've met are the conservative students because they've developed a concept.
We're sharing some of the wonderful moments in conversation that I've gotten to have in the last year with Conversation Balloons guests. And I thought I would take a moment to talk to you about the show, because I get a lot of the same questions about the show that I thought I can just answer in aggregate here, and thanks for your interest in it. People ask me, how did you come to start a podcast? I have been a writer for much of my life. That was my undergraduate degree and master's degree. And I've published scholarly and devotional articles. But I was writing for my denomination a while back, and I just kind of had the gut feeling that I don't think anybody's much reading this. And so I noticed that people were going around with earbuds in, and when appropriate, I would ask them, "What are you listening to?" And they would say, "A podcast." And I thought, that's where I need to be. So I recorded my first attempt at a podcast when I was out for a walk. I just had my phone in my hand, and I saw an ad for an easy way to get started. And so I recorded something, and I thought, that's fun. But I knew I needed professional help, and I needed editing. And so I got my wonderful producer, Caleb Broker, and he's been at my side ever since on this. Couldn't do it without him. I decided that I wanted a conversation format with guests because throughout my life, I've had an interesting phenomenon. I've had conversations that were very enjoyable and lively with people. And then I've had a third party, someone who was listening to the conversation, tell me afterwards, that was one of the most interesting conversations I've ever heard. I hope you didn't mind my overhearing you. And so, like one time my husband and I were talking in this coffee house in Arkansas on vacation. And we had this debate about whether numbers or words were more important. And he's a scientist, and I'm a word person, but I was saying that numbers were more important, and he was saying that words were more important. And so another time I was at a museum with my kids, and I was talking with them about the paintings, and someone said afterwards, those kids are so lucky to be able to talk to you about this. And so I thought this could be fun. This could be interesting for the person that is tuning in. The other question I get a lot is, how do you get your guests? And thank goodness that hasn't been real difficult. I guess I get about 3 to 4 out of 5 of the guests that I approach. And I get them because I read a lot. I think I started out with kind of a pent-up set of people that I'd always known I would want to talk to, even before I knew about podcasting. I just was a fangirl of these people's way of expressing themselves and seeing the world. And some of them I've been able to get on the show. And others I come across on social media or through news, other reading, issues reading that I do. And I don't always pick people of my faith tradition or perspective, but I want people whose voices that I want to amplify, and who can do it in a civil way, who have brought value to other people with a combination of empirical basis for what they're saying, or else a deep life experience combined with practical help for my audience who can benefit in their own lives from what we're talking about. So those two things are what I look for. And I'd kind of like to have more humor in my shows, but I tend to deal with fairly serious sociological issues a lot. But I love the arts, and I love silliness and little kids and things that don't always come out on the show, but that I really enjoy, and I hope to bring more of in the future. I'm really encouraged by the sponsorship of the Herzog Foundation, and I love the work that they do in connecting the generations through Christian education. I think faith-based education has been proven empirically to benefit all kinds of children, not just religious children. I think that their practical tools to help schools are really in need, because there are many new alternatives forming to traditional public education, and we all need better ideas. We need to do a better job with kids, and Herzog is supporting those efforts. I'd say the kind of guest that I have the most trouble with, although I don't have much trouble, but I'd say the guest that's most difficult for me is someone who has been interviewed so many times that it's kind of like, pull the string and the lines come out, and that it's hard to get them to say something fresh. And if they're a little bit too familiar with their material, I fear that it can show. But it's really fun when I can be stimulated by their ideas in real time and share things that I've been thinking of too. I don't consider what I'm doing as interviewing. I don't do infomercials. I have conversations, and it's fun when someone has a book coming out or that just came out, and I'm happy to promote their book and things like that. But mostly I just want to talk with them about where their heart is and their head is today. And I hope that it continues to benefit you. I really want you to like and subscribe, rate, review the show, and give us feedback on how it's impacting your life. Thanks a lot for listening, and have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.
So this has been a lovely conversation.
I can never pay it back to all the people who shared this story, but I can pay it forward.
And it was an amazing conversation.
Thank you for that prompt. I appreciate that.
I think it might just be this idea of an openness to learn and a desire for freedom and flexibility and asking questions.
This episode is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Herzog Foundation.